Now, as I just said, that's active. So what we can also check is passive. So if we use our other hand, you can test how far you can take yourself back, okay? Now, what people who are hypermobile might find is that they can actively go to about here, but then when they take their hand in, they just go for days. I'm not hypermobile, so I can't really demonstrate this, but they'll find that they can take it way, way, way further. Or when they're doing things on their hands and knees, they can go so far forward. So for me, that's about as far forward as I can get before my heel starts to lift. Somebody who's hypermobile can kind of just keep going, 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 and their palm of their hand will stay on the ground the whole time. And same thing often going in this direction. So when they put their hand down, they not only get to in and around 90 degrees, so for me there, my palm of my hand starts to lift, they can just keep going, keep going, keep going. So they'll often find that they have a gap in their wrists in between how far they can go actively and how far they can go passively. So they have a ton of passive range of motion and their active range of motion is kind of lagging behind. Now, if you are hypermobile and if you do have that, you then want to look at actually closing off that gap between passive and active range of motion. So let's say your active range of motion is here, but your passive range of motion is way back here. What you can do is go to your active range and then start training it there, or take it just slightly past that and start training it there. And then you don't need to do your 2 to 3 minute stretch, right? So I could then just block myself with my hand here, and I'm gonna start pushing up into my hand as if trying to get out of the stretch. And then I'm gonna try to pull deeper into the stretch and work this backside stuff. And I can either block myself with the other hand so that I stay at that angle, or I can just try to pull deeper, but again, you might not be able to because your active range of motion, as you determined earlier, is here. So you don't have the active strength yet to pull deeper. And then you would train it at that angle, and then you could take it about 10 to 15 degrees further and train it at that angle. And over time, over weeks, work your way towards training it right at your end range of motion and work towards filling in that gap so that one day you assess how far can you extend your wrist, and you can extend it as far actively as you can passively. So those, they look like pails and rails. We call them positional isometrics. They're a little bit different.